Tucker. What's going on, Tucker? What you got? What is that? Whatever it is isn't yours anymore. Hi. Hi. You want to say hello to everybody? Say hi. I am Tucker Carlson. I am the head rooster, or at least I think I'm the head rooster, even though I'm one of the younger roosters. Well, no, you're the middle child now. You're no longer the young rooster. Hi, everybody. This is Lorraine from Alternative Homesteading. I didn't want this day to go by without speaking a little bit about September 11. That's what today is. It's 9/11. The day the Twin Towers fell down and we lost thousands of innocent people. My memory of 9/11 was, I'd mentioned in another video that the night before I attended the most spectacular concert at Madison Square Garden. It was Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, his 30th, I think it was his 30th reunion. And it was a star-studded performance. Britney Spears, Usher, Liza Minnelli was there, Elizabeth Taylor, Macaulay Culkin, and a whole bunch of other people. But it was the most amazing experience. It was torrential rain. My daughter and I were soaking wet. We had center seats that my mother got for us. And we sat in that concert literally freezing and wet because the umbrella did not protect us. But it was spectacular. And then I don't think we got home until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And actually my daughter did go to school the next day. And my phone rang in the morning. And it was my boyfriend at the time. He was actually calling me from Israel because he worked there part of the time. And he said, are you watching the television? I said, no, don't you remember I had my concert last night? He said, please go turn on the television. I said, why? He said, just turn it on. So I turned on the television. And I'm watching the replay of, oh my goodness, I'm getting like emotional. I watched the replay of the plane crashing into the Twin Towers. And I said to him, I said, how could that plane not see the Twin Towers? I mean, this is where my mind was at that time of the morning after having a couple of hours of sleep. I said, how is that possible? How could somebody miss and crash into the Twin Towers? Like, how is that possible? And he said, watch it again. And they replayed it. And then as we're talking on the phone, the second plane hit. And I remember, the cognitive dissonance. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was just horrible. And then the news was reporting that I think it was the 14th floor, and they were talking about Cantor Fitzgerald. And at the time, I was a staffing recruiter. I had my own staffing business, and I did a splits business with another agency who actually worked down there on Wall Street, and Cantor Fitzgerald was their client. So we did a splits business. I would recruit technical network engineers for the brokerage houses. And they were talking that it was Cantor Fitzgerald, and it's like, what? I mean, I know people that work there. My neighbor down the block works there. My neighbor's, my daughter's friend's father works there. My daughter's other friend's father works there. And as things unfolded, I remember calling my friend Janet. And I said, Janet, have you heard from your husband? And she said, no, Lorraine, we haven't heard from him yet. Could you please say a prayer? And then my neighbor down the block, her husband actually came home. And then as the events unfolded, they weren't allowing kids to leave school. I kept calling and saying, are you sending the kids home now? They said, no, we're holding the children yet. We're not sending them home yet. I said, well, why? And they said, because we want to make sure that they had some news that some of those kids, that their parents died. And one of my daughter's friends was actually having her birthday that day. September 11th was her birthday. And when she went home, both of her parents were dead. And then one of my daughter's other friends, her father, Dominic, I'll just say it, Dominic Callia, he passed away. It was the saddest thing. And then you fast forward all these years later, and I wasn't into conspiracy theories back then. But the more I've learned is that it was completely senseless. That it may have been another carefully orchestrated operation, I'll say. But I didn't want today to go by without remembering the people that lost their lives there senselessly. And I will always remember my daughter's friends. One that came home to an empty house losing both parents, and then another losing her father. And then also, as I was doing business, there were names that were being published in the local papers and stuff, and then I would see the names of my clients, my job applicants, some of their names appearing. And then my colleague would ask me to call to find out if they were still job searching, right? And I would call and the phones would ring, and it was like the worst time of my life, one of the worst times of my life, thinking, I have to call these homes, and I don't know if my client is deceased. So for people listening to this, because I haven't heard anything on the news. No one is talking about what happened then. Today is September 11. We lost the Twin Towers in New York City. We lost thousands of workers in that building, firefighters, law enforcement. We lost so many people. My own brother was working down there, and he was trapped, and he was inhaling all of that stuff. He actually almost died because of what he had to inhale during that time. And then he was forced to return to work there afterwards. And he was hospitalized with pneumonia and almost died because of all the soot and stuff that he inhaled. I actually saw one of the raw footages of people screaming and running away from the buildings. Somebody had forwarded it to me. I don't even know if I saved it. And I watched it over and over again. And it's like my brother was running with those people because he worked on Wall Street then. But for anybody who lost somebody in 9/11, please post a comment down below. What were you doing? What were you doing when those buildings came down? What were you doing when those buildings were hit? What were you thinking? And all these years later, what do you think really happened and why? I would like to know. And for all those souls that lost their lives, these are the angels now. They're in heaven. But I hope everybody's having a good night. It's Sunday. And say a prayer for our country. Buy some extra food, water, supplies. I don't discuss this enough on my channel. I just seem to think, or maybe I have the misguided belief that everybody that's listening to me knows this already. But you know what? There are a lot of people that don't know. Our economy is crashing down all around us. Food prices are soaring and there is food scarcity. And I know that many people do not have the money to buy extra food, but there are so many things that you can buy that don't cost a lot of money. You can stock up on some cans, buy a couple of cans each a week. Buy some dry goods, water bottles or a water catchment. Some method to purify water, whether it's bleach tablets, a Sawyer Mini, which is like a life straw that goes into unfiltered water and filters it. Grains, rice, potato flakes, pasta, ramen noodles. You don't even have to use that disgusting MSG spice bag with it. You can, just use the noodles. And bouillon cubes. I like miso soup. Miso soup has some extra sodium and sometimes seaweed, which is packed full of iodine, which we all need. Peanut butter, jelly. These are shelf-stable foods. Peanut butter for the most part. You can buy peanut butter powder, buy oils. Coconut oil lasts a long time. Coconut butter, olive oil. My little kiddos here. And juices. You can buy and store juices, juice bottles, electrolytes in packets, powdered electrolytes, instead of buying the pre-mixed ones that usually have a lot of food coloring. You don't really need the food coloring. I mean, of course, in a grid down situation where you have nothing, it's better to have food coloring than not have food coloring, but the food coloring is going to kill you eventually. So try to get it without the food coloring. But if anybody has any questions or would like any links to some other channels, I can recommend some other channels. And go watch Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. They've been around a long time, 13 years on their homestead in Missouri. They own 11 acres of land and they are completely off the grid. They catch their own water, raise 90% of their own food, and lately they have been speaking out. I'm so proud of them. They've been speaking out about what is happening in the world, the real world events, what you can do to prepare. They've done it. I'm not really there yet. I'm here 3 years. I don't have a partner. I don't have somebody helping me, but I'm doing the best that I can with water catchments. Of course, I'm being sabotaged by the criminals that come onto my property. They've actually broken 3 spigots to my water catchments units. One of which is not even a year old. So this is what I'm dealing with here. I go 1 step forward to 2 steps backwards with these creatures. They don't want you to get ahead, want to sabotage everything that you're doing. But I'm just going to keep moving forward. So, okay, you know what? So I've got to buy extra spigots, and that's what I had to do. And now I'm going to have to take apart this catchment unit, that one over there, replace the spigots. And hopefully they won't damage it again, which of course they probably will, because one of them I've already replaced twice. It's just craziness, the things that these people do. But please take good care of yourselves. Buy extra medications and stuff. I mean, I don't normally say things like this. I don't take medications, but I guess in an emergency, if I were in pain, I would take an aspirin. I generally do everything holistically, natural remedies, essential oils, tinctures and stuff like that. But for those of you folks that need medication, I hear that it's becoming difficult to find and more pricey. So just stock up to the best of your ability. Everything that you use on a regular basis, just buy more of. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, wipes. You know, everybody goes out and buys the toilet paper and stuff, but, you know, you can get wet wipes also. Women, you've got to get your, you know, your sanitary products and stuff, which I also hear have become more difficult to find. And I mentioned in my prepping for pets video that I haven't heard one prepper talk about getting dog wee-wee pads. They are multi-purpose, okay? Even if you don't have a puppy that you're training, they do absorb a lot of fluid. I use them all the time. I use them to mop up huge puddles. I use them to train my guinea hens when I just got them, to line the bottoms of their tubs. But if you cannot find sanitary napkins or diapers, you can use these wee pads, which are huge. You can cut them into different pieces and strips and use them. Sometimes I will turn them upside down to just mop up a huge puddle of fluid. Because, of course, the criminals dented the floor here on the chicken coop right there. They must have hammered it to cause it to sink a little bit. Now, this was new, brand new, and they did that. So sometimes I'll go there and I'll sweep the water away, but sometimes I'll just take one of those wee pads, turn it upside down, let it sit on top of it, absorb all the water, and it's fine. But I hope everybody's having a good Sunday, good rest of the week. I will post a video tomorrow. Just so you know, everybody who's commenting and who's joined, I'm not doing any research right now on what I'm discussing. I'm just winging it, you know, picking up the phone and whatever comes to my mind right now. There are times in the past where I have researched a subject and have discussed it. I just haven't had time to do that right now. But please leave a comment down below if you remember what you were doing at that fateful morning of 9/11, what your experiences were if you lost anybody, and how you feel about it now. This is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading, signing off for now, and I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, and I'll speak to you in the next video.